It's a time for entering the Pandora jungle, so it's time for a package from China. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the Pandora jungle. Yes, because this is the Pandora CX. The Pandora newest version, they're saying this is the 2021 model. The question remains, what are we going to get and how good is this device? So what you're going to see here is the game console version that they love to call it. And the reason why is very simple. We're going to get an HDMI cable, a power supply, and controller, the PlayStation 2 knockoff, and not to forget, we're going to get the Pandora box itself. Alright, so the Pandora box itself, you can also buy just the console itself. What you're going to get is this deluxe manual, and we're going to get the famous orange casing with the official logo over here. But there are some new changes, that's why we're going to take a close look. What kind of specification we're going to get, and most important, what can we do, what can we play, and what did they change out. But okay, let's take a close look at the manual itself. Normally we're going to get the toilet paper manuals, but this is the deluxe edition. As you can see, with very nice thick glossy paper, and they did a very nice job with it. Some explanation about the EDA connector if you want to connect your arcade machine. Here we're having the specification that we're going to take a close look at it later. Here we have the menu. The menu itself is very similar to the previous models, with some minor improvements. Also we're going to get gamepad settings. Read it, because there is a lot of information that you need to check out. Otherwise you will leave it out and you don't have the experience with the Pandora box CX. The nightmare never ends. Okie dokie, so let's talk about the system itself. So when you're looking at the casing, they're all the same, it doesn't even matter. The positive thing is, if you're having an old Pandora box laying around, it's highly possible you can upgrade it very easily. The reason why I'm saying highly possible, because it's not always sure, and I will explain you why. As you can see over here, having all the connectors. So here having the DC input in, HDMI out, VGA, audio out, volume control, settings, and the two USB connections. But take it under consideration if you're having, let's say, more like a Pandora box casing, yeah, and the ports are different, it's highly possible that you can't upgrade it. But you need to check out if you're using a casing or you're going to use the main board itself. So besides the numbering, the alphabetic order is just a freaking nightmare. So already somebody mentioned in the video on the preview, it's more like, why do you call this the Pandora box CX? The previous model was DX. Just call this thing EX or whatever. Oh man, it's like a freaking nightmare. Okay, so let's take a close look at the connections over here. For the people who didn't know, if you want to put it in, let's say your arcade machine or arcade 1-up for example, you can use this port for your speaker. It's done very easily. So we're going to get here the connection for the on and off switch. As you can see, we're using a jumper over here, so we don't need the on and off switch. Okay, so if you want to use this thing in an arcade machine, you will need to use this EDA connection. Take into consideration that you need to buy the kit with the cable harness, otherwise you can't connect it. Okay, so let's take a close look at the USB connection. This is something you really need to know. You can only use one connection. Yep, they didn't change it out. And the reason why is because so far I know one of these connections will be using for storage if you want to use this, like the SD card, or you want to use the USB connection. That's both an option, but the other one is going to use for the controller. I'm having here the old school Chinese controllers, more like a PlayStation 2 knockoff. But what you can do, there are quite some different versions out there with controllers. Not everything is supported. I did make a video about it, so take that into consideration. But let's take a close look at the controller. So there are quite some different versions. We're also having the 2-player version that only has one connector. That's very convenient because you can only use one connection on your Pandora's box. So when you're looking at the controllers, they are nothing like the original PlayStation controllers. They look like them, but they are not. They have a very cheap click to it, and most of them are smelling very chemical. So this is what you're going to get with most of these controllers. There are freaking horrible versions out there, but in the end, nothing beats the original PlayStation 2 controller. The first improvement of the Pandora box CX is that we finally don't have the stupid intro anymore. Man, that was really annoying. You can shut it off if you want to, but you just didn't put it on it. So this is a very big positive side. If you want to see the full game list, go check the gaming channel, subscribe to the channel, because there we're going to upload the full game list and some more information, gameplay whatsoever. So just take that in consideration. Okay, so the people new to the Pandora jungle, just give you a quick explanation. So as you can see over here, we're having this very tiny, nice preview of the game that is shown over here. Here we're having the big list with all the games included. So when you're pressing start, we will get this extra menu. And with this menu you can go to search, you can search for categorized. I think from the Pandora Box 6 this is just a feature they implemented. Very happy to it because, oh man, the previous models was just a freaking nightmare. Alright, so let's take a close look at the search function. I think it's more like a weird way how you need to search, and the reason why I'm saying it's weird is that you need to, let's say, search for the word or the name, and then we're going to need to press OK, and then you're going to the left list. It's something you just need to know. Kind of annoying the first time, but in the end what you're going to get with these games are more like, we're going to get support of MAME, Neo Geo, we're having some 8-bit, 16-bit lost somewhere in the list, and of course we're having PlayStation, and that's it. But okay, let's go to the setting menus because there are some new options over there. Alright, so when you take a close look at the settings menu, there's not a lot changed compared with the Pandora Box DX. But when you're looking at the Pandora Box 9, basically it's the same store that sells the CX. Yes, then there's a big step up. System configuration, as you can see, there are a lot of same things like the DX. What is and I think this is very interesting, is just the quality optimization. Here we're having the on and off function, so optimization more like a filter you can put over the games, and of course scan lines, but there is only one scan line. I will give you a quick overview of the scan line and the function. Okay, next up is the gamepad settings. This is quite interesting. If you just want to use play 1 or 2 on the gamepad, it's very easy. You can switch it over here to play 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't even matter how many players you can see, but so far I know you can only have 2 players on the gamepad and 2 players on the arcade machine. So take that in consideration, because as you can see here, you can't give all the controls or all the gamepads to a certain player. Okay guys, so let's check it out. Let's see what we're going to get with the Pandora Box CX when it comes to the gameplay. Did they fix all the issues with the previous model, or is it just the same Pandora misery all over again? I just want to quick point out that we're having a save option in the product itself. But as you can see, sadly they didn't fix it with this version when it comes to some MAME games. It's just a big issue, and yeah, they still mess up some things. The bastard froze me. Excellent. Oh crap. Oh crap. Remember the button? No, you're not going to fucking freeze me. Again. Sub-Zero win. No, don't clap. Oh. Prepare to strike now. Where are the soundtracks? Oh. Round 1. Fight. And with this game we can save. See? Exactly what I mean. It makes no freaking sense. Okay guys, so let's do a quick teardown. I just wanted to show you the main board itself, because this is more like a very strange story. As you can see over here, this is the first main board. It is just this measurement. It's quite unique in my opinion. I have never seen this kind of form factor before. So let's grab a different main board so I can give you a quick example. Okay, here's a quick side-by-side comparison with the Pandora Box DX here at the left side. And as you can see, it's quite unique that they just left out a piece of the PCB. And I think this is more like making the board even cheaper to produce. Or that's the only thing that I can think of in my opinion. But there was also something else that I think is very interesting with the new version. I already mentioned in my preview is that I did notice there were some extra connectors on the main board. And I'm talking about these two over here and there. And the reason why I think it's very interesting, if you're having the dual screen Pandora box arcade machines and you have this old crappy mainboard, you can always swap it out with the CX, because it has this is the connections for, if I'm saying it correctly, for the power, and these are for the displays. So in general, I think it's quite interesting. So it can be a very nice upgrade if you're having, let's say, a Pandora box CX in your old machine. Okay guys, so let's do a little bit of an ETA Prime moment. So we're going to get the CPU that's on a quad-core Cortex A7 that is running on 1.5 GHz. It has a CPU that is a Mali 400 MP2. The resolutions can go up to 1280 by 720, or they can call it 720p, so this device is not even 1080p. The RAM itself is 2GB DDR3 that is clocked on 866 MHz. So if you're looking at specifications, it's not a big of a deal in my opinion when you're looking at the previous models. So the biggest downside to this device is that it has passive cooling. I'm guessing it will be more than enough. That is something we need to see in the future if this mainboard can hold up. Simply, I think it's just a shame. I really like the active new version because the active cooling, way better cooling. As you can see over here, we're having the ROG chip that is an RK3128 chip. The RK chip, they're all using it in some of these handhelds nowadays, but I just want to give you a quick look at the chip itself. My mainboard is version 11, or this is what it says over here, revision 2020. So you can see this mainboard is brand new. Alright guys, so this is what you're going to get with the Pandora Box CX. Yeah, it's more of the same when you're looking at the previous models. I was using the Pandora Box in combination with the Xbox 360 controller. Works like a charm. I'm very glad they have upgraded the support if you're looking at the Pandora Box 9. Pandora Box DX is basically the same in my opinion. But this is what you're going to get. Let me know in the comments what you think. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and I will see you in the next video. Pandora Jungle, the nightmare never ends. Yeah.